And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there are no appointments tonight on the agenda. So if we like, we can get into committee reports and resolutions. A lot of the resolutions tonight are from real property, but we can start with the treasurer. If he has anything to add to his report, by all means. Okay?
If anyone has any questions.
I don't think, does any of the committee have questions for our treasurer?
At this time.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Grace Bowers, our Director of Finance. Hello.
The only thing just a shout out to, the staff, Courtney Haverlaw. I mean, she's really been, great in reaching out to the retirees, even after the meeting. Just giving them the information they need, making them feel comfortable with the change, because obviously changing any health, plan it's a little bit stressful. You're worried that you're not going to have the coverage. So she's really done a good job with that. So.
And you gave us the updated sales tax report, which showed some growth, but I guess I'm curious that there's no crystal ball. Do you think as we get towards the end of the year that we'll be any closer to budget?
I mean, I think we could get a little bit closer. Do I think that we're going to meet budget? It's probably not likely. Even with this slight increase, I think we're now about 2.03 or 2.08% over last year this time. So right now we're looking still at about a $700,000 deficit with the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't see that huge of a swing. So
There is more spending towards the end of the year,
Yes.
but yes, okay, all right. I guess the only other thing, Grace, is you are working on policies that delineate the roles and responsibilities between the treasurer's office and the finance department. That's kind of in motion.
yeah, that's in motion. There was an agreement at one point between Jim and Mary Beth. I've got to work with Dave, and we're working on an agreement between Dave's office and my office with regards to responsibilities and certain things I can do on behalf of the treasurer as well.
Yep.
Because the treasurer is ultimately the keeper of the cash, right? So,
Yep.
That's a responsibility that obviously I can't have, he can sign off on, allowing me to sign checks, sign vouchers, things like that. But we do need agreement in place.
That was an audit finding.
That's modified,
Yep.
yes. Yep.
Okay, all right. Any other questions for Grace?
Yeah. Grace, GASB 75, which GASB is that one?
That has to do with, let me think about that. So it has to do with the insurance other than retirement. So the actuaries come in and they just make sure that we have what we need to have on the books for, to cover any insurance going forward. So obviously,
Too many GASBs, but.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
That's one related to the insurance.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
What's it stand for, Ben, do you know?
GASB? General Accounting Standard something.
Well, GASB is governmental accounting standard board, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have, Jenny? you have quite a few resolutions as
We
well.
have 9 resolutions.
Uh-huh.
So if there's any questions on my report first?
Any questions for her on the report that she submitted? Nope. Okay, you can get into your resolutions if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay,
So WM3 is authorizing correction of real property taxes in the amount of 2,500 or less by the Cayuga County Treasurer. This is a standard annual resolution that we do, that essentially is corrections of error come through. If it's correction is less than 2,500, the treasurer is authorized to make those corrections without coming to the legislature. Anything over that requires legislative approval.
I'll get a motion for that.
Gail, move it.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. WM4,
Is the levy of agricultural conversion payments. So essentially, when people get an agricultural land exemption, they're agreeing that they will keep that piece of land used for agricultural use for a certain period of time. If they don't, if they convert the land to another use, so particularly for solar projects, or if they were to build like a housing development, something like that, where it's no longer an agricultural use, within 5 years of last getting that exemption, then this penalty applies. So these landowners have already been notified by the assessor, and this is just us approving the extension of that levy.
Move it.
I'll second that. Oh, questions?
Is it just one landowner in Aurelius or there's several?
So on this one, there's 2. But it includes 5 parcels.
Any questions? Other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay, WM4,
We just did.
I'm sorry, WM5.
So this is the levy of taxes for the Water and Sewer Authority for County Water District 3 and Sewer District 2. So again, this is an annual resolution.
They prepare this information and
Prepare this information, and then we have to approve to
levy the
levy
taxes. And that goes to repay the county for,
Okay. So water and sewer,
they pass it through soil and water.
water and sewer.
Or
Water.
Okay,
Moving.
Mike, Gail, second.
okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. WM6,
So this one is to apportion the community college costs for tax purposes. So essentially, students that are residents of our county but attend community colleges in other counties, those colleges charge our county a portion of the tuition for those students. The treasurer's office tracks all those charges and then gives me a report. And so this is basically apportioning those to all the towns in which those students lived.
Did we move this yet?
I'll move it for discussion.
Second,
Yep.
discussion. So I just want to clarify, the students who are living in our county but attending community colleges, SUNYs outside of our county, if they provide the certificate of residence, does that turn this around?
The certificate of residence is what they need to provide. The school needs to provide that to our county in order for us to pay those invoices. That's the proof that they are a resident.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the WM7, you kind of gave us a heads up on this before and
Yes, so the Village of Fairhaven has requested that the legislature consider allowing a real property tax exemption for municipal purposes for 2 properties that they have that are outside of the Village of Fairhaven that are in the town of Sterling, that they're used for water purposes. So they would be eligible under the section of law for municipal exemptions. But because they're outside of the district boundary, it needs approval from all other governing boards in order to give that exemption. So you would have to approve for the county to give an exemption on the county tax.
I'll move it. Madam Chair.
Yep.
Prior, I'd like to, after consulting with the county attorney, I'll be recusing myself from this conversation due to the fact that I am a user and a beneficiary of the system.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
And this would be, you have some detail on what this would actually mean in terms of reduction in taxes?
Yes. Give it to you, not here.
And you had said, Jen, before that this had been in place years ago.
So this was in place on the 2022 assessment roll.
Uh-huh.
And then a new assessor was appointed in Sterling and and so when a new assessor is appointed, generally they'll review all of the exemptions and make sure that there's proper authorization for those exemptions. And so she didn't find anything in the file giving written authorization from other municipalities for this exemption, so she did remove it. And so now they're coming back asking to get that written authorization to hopefully get it put back on.
And it is eligible by law that this meets the criteria, all of that?
Only if it's authorized
Yes.
in writing by the legislative bodies, correct?
Did we get a motion in a second?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And one recused. Yep. Brian, in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And 8, WM8?
Authorizing the software license agreement with GAR Associates. So right now we are using SDG ImageMate to share assessment information with the public. This would be changing vendors for that service.
I'll second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. And 9?
Is to authorize the county treasurer to pay mortgage tax. And this is,
Yeah.
happens twice a year.
Yep. Okay, I'll move that.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. WM10?
Is authorizing the levy of omitted taxes. And again, this is an annual resolution. To authorize when people receive the benefit of an exemption that weren't really eligible for it on prior year tax bills.
Can I get a motion for this?
But
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, and last but not least, WM11.
So prorate the cost of services provided to towns for the Real Property Service Department. This is an annual resolution as well. No, you had.
I did. Can we get a motion and a second for discussion?
I'll move it for discussion.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, my issue here is that we're charging at 1/3 our salary and fringes. And I know it's a huge benefit to the towns, but as a legislator, I think we got to protect our Cayuga County also. So I think it's kind of unfair to other towns that have their own assessors. So I would like to propose, go ahead.
This isn't for assessment services.
Okay,
So for the towns that we assess for, we have separate agreements with them and they do pay us a separate sum of money for that assessment service.
But this is for what then,
This
Jenny?
is for all of the support and administrative services that we do. So under law, we're required to have tax maps. And so those tax mapping services, and all the different services that they do as far as reviewing deeds and,
this you provide for all the towns.
This is provided for all the towns. Certain services, some of the assessors like to do for themselves. So like entering sales into the system, some of the assessors like to do it themselves so that they're right on top of that data. Other assessors have us do that for them. So
Does the state determine how much we charge back to the towns or not?
no, they do not. This is how it's been done in the past, which is not the correct answer.
But
No, it's good discussion though. Keep going.
Right. So I would say if you wanted to look at what we really should be charging them, I really would probably have to do some sort of a time and cost type of an analysis to figure out what portion of our time is really going to the mandated services that we're doing for the towns specifically. I would say definitely 1/3 is, probably more than that of our time is going towards that service. So I've never felt bad charging that. But to increase it, I would want to study that a little bit more to have a better idea of the percentage of each staff's time.
When does most of this work happen? Throughout the year or?
It's throughout the entire year. So all of the processes are very cyclical. We go from preparing assessment rolls, getting information from the state, applying all of that, to village tax bills, school tax bills, town and county. So there are other things that we do spend our time on as well, not just.
But if you didn't do it, they would be obligated to do it. That's why they,
Required to.
well, then why are they paying
I
us?
don't know, ask.
Yeah, I mean,
So there is a local law that allows the county, that approved to collect in installments. And within that local law, basically it says we'll charge service, for our basically fees for providing bills and preparation of tax rolls, assessment rolls, all of that. So.
The question is, who was required to do it, the county or the towns?
So
If you gotta get answers later, that's okay. You don't have to have all the answers right now.
yeah, and things, yeah, I think
right, because there was,
certain things you'll find in different parts of the state are done at different levels.
Uh-huh.
I guess there was past discussion about county departments providing services for the towns and villages and why we would not be getting the fair amount of reimbursement for the support we're giving. So when this came up, it was like, wow, we're doing these things and we're charging 1/3 of the staff salary costs, which kind of is in the same vein. Why would we be, if we could get additional revenue for the meaningful work that we're doing, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, and like I said, that's definitely something I can look at to see if we should be increasing.
And you do a time study, for example, for some of those jobs and.
That's what I would want to do.
Because I think your initial,
I really appreciate all the information.
Yeah.
I think it's very helpful and
and if we were going to change anything in terms of what we're expecting the towns and villages to reimburse us, I think they should have fair notice that we're thinking of doing that. So might be too late for 25, but we could certainly bring a resolution after you get a little more information about, a heads up to them that we are going to be looking at for 26 and beyond, increasing, the amount of money. And I was educating myself. They don't write us a check for this. We just withhold in the last quarter
From their sales tax, correct?
whatever amount you feel is appropriate. And you're going to get us more information about what might be more appropriate.
Correct.
So do we want to pass this resolution?
Yeah.
And then you'll get back to us?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
you're welcome.
Just, how long do you think, off the cuff, of course, a time cost analysis would take?
Well, first I'd like to get through the tax billing season because that's really right now my primary focus. So I would say maybe January or February is when I would probably sit down and take a look at it.
Okay. And then we could bring another resolution establishing what the,
Anyhow.
yes. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Did we get a motion and second for this? Okay. We'll pass it as is. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Diane, you are asking that WM2 be pulled tonight
Yes,
because you may need to find another vendor and,
yes, I was informed today by the owner of Corporate Care that he is retiring. So he cannot provide us a long-term contract for our EAC services. He is willing to extend it 6 months, so that would go from January 1st to June 30th. So I'll be writing a resolution next month for that 6-month period and then working with Amanda to go out with an RFP for new services.
okay? Do you have anything to add to your,
I don't, I'll just ask if anybody has any questions for me.
I just a comment, I guess. We are still not finalized in terms of the comp study. We're still asking for some different information.
We had a couple of questions, we sent out to the person who did the study for us, who's a vendor, and they have recently returned those answers, so they're going to be updating that information for us based on what they updated changes.
Okay, and I guess at some point, what we as a county legislature decide to do with that, have to make those decisions?
Right.
Okay, all right. Yep,
I know I've asked, and I know legislator Shea had asked for a readout
Yes,
of all the.
I apologize, it's on my list to get to both of you. I
I'd
will have it to
appreciate
you
it
tomorrow,
as
I have
soon
not
as
forgotten.
Thank you.
Mark, are you talking about those, but,
The vacants.
Vacant positions.
Positions, even though not all of them are budgeted.
that are in your roster?
Right.
Oh, okay,
That's what
Yep.
I'm looking-
okay, the roster of things that could be cleaned out in
If
the
you
HR.
like, you can send it to all legislators.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you?
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you. Amanda?
I don't have anything to add to my report, just wanted to let you know after the meeting last week that PPW 10 was added. So if anybody had any questions about my report or that, I'd be happy to help.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we'll get that to PPW 10. That's the consulting. Yep. Okay. All right, appreciate the heads up on that. All right. Okay, do we want to move on to Health and Human Services?
Yes, Madam Chair, Health and Human Services had 13 resolutions. 2 have been added since HHS for us to discuss tonight. HH1 was defeated at committee. I would like to bundle HH2. Actually not bundle, but just discuss HH2. This is passed by committee. This is authorizing the Director of Public Health to fill a part-time rabies coordinator position within the health department.
Move it.
Second.
I do have some questions about this. If I'm not mistaken, I can't pull the resolution up. It talks about, well, first of all, I'm wondering when that position is going to be vacant.
Kathleen could give us details.
End of the year,
Okay, so at the end of the calendar year.
correct.
And even though that's the case, you have 140 hours of crossover training.
Yes, because we would like that person, whoever it is we hire, to replace.
And the rabies coordinator is not really a rabies nurse, but it's the nurse salary, which is kind of, I mean, that's where you got the $26.
It's the rabies cord, it's not, it's the rabies coordinator salary.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
The nurse's bonus for the person who holds.
Okay,
that.
so there's no reason you would have to have a registered nurse become the part-time
That
rabies.
is an option, not a requirement.
And I know it's little money and I know you say that there won't be, it would be more expensive to not have it, but if you can't find anyone interested in this position, you're going to have to almost have her come back and instead of training your staff now. I mean,
the incumbent has been in this role for a long time.
Yep,
It's only this past year that we have actually, this person has actually taken time for themselves and utilized benefit time. So during that time, we did use in-house staff to cover and we put them on call.
yep,
The on-call rate, as it stands, as per the contract, regardless of who is on call, is more than what we paid the rabies until last year.
okay.
So it is more cost effective
If you can find
if
someone.
we can find someone to hire the person.
Okay, and if you can't, your staff already has some expertise in this area and would have to do it.
It has to be done.
Right.
So we will have to identify the best way to do that. We've been having conversations with a number of counties and how they operate their rabies programs because as many of you know, there's the office end of things and there's the outside of the office end of things. And right now it's the office-based role where that person is retiring. It's not the field work.
Well, I know who the candidate was and it was ideal. And both of those vendors are going to be leaving.
One of them we know is.
Oh,
I'm
not sure about the other.
Conversation with the other person.
Okay.
We're certainly not pushing what's working well out the door.
Okay, because I was just thinking the 26 was close to the hourly rate of the registered nurse. And I'm like, if you think it would be unlikely, I think you'd find a nurse to.
It might be great because it could be an after hour something. That's how this role was filled previously. Someone worked a full-time job and then came in and worked this part-time because it's a limited number of hours a week. It's certainly higher and it fluctuates as per the need.
Right.
Right.
But you would be mostly prepared to take this on in-house if you couldn't find anyone. You would be forced to.
Well, yeah, we'll have to.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I mean. They're
Comply with the law.
there's no option
But
to.
it will be very costly because it's a 24/7 operation and someone will have to be put on call to do that.
Yep.
So if, we're gonna look for the rate for this rabies coordinator position, assuming this resolution passes and look to hire someone for that. And if money is the issue, we'll have to talk about that and come back to this committee and propose what we think is most fiscally responsible.
Mark?
Just to clarify, how many sober training hours was that?
It was 140 before. That is standard language. That needs to be adjusted.
The month worth, a month?
How do we determine cost of that cross solution? Is it strictly a set amount of money per man or, hour or what? Trying to figure out how much money you're spending on training.
The rate at which the person,
If you paying 2 people for a month
yes,
is how it would work.
And training.
for the.
One trainer and one new.
Hour for whatever, right? It's an hourly rate. So,
And you might not eat all 140.
correct.
Right, but you want the ability to have some FaceTime with whoever you're.
Do you have a separate training budget for that?
Comes out of our salary line because this will be vacant for a little while, right? So we anticipate having a little bit of money in our salary line as a result of the vacancy when we're doing it ourselves. Before we hire.
Do we have excess money in our budget?
No,
Or
it's not excess. It would be, well, the position is vacant. And we have vacancies
So
all the time.
I guess
right?
I'm just trying to figure out how, if the position is vacant,
Mhm.
you're not paying somebody.
It's not vacant now though, right?
It's not vacant currently. It will be vacant at the end of the calendar year. I guess I'll put it this way, at any given time in the larger departments, there may be vacancies and that is how we compensate. It really, we do not have excess money.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. I would like to bundle,
Madam Chair.
Yes. I'm sorry, you had a question?
You didn't ask for opposed.
Are you opposed? Okay, sorry.
HH3 defeated it at Health and Human Services Committee. I'd like to bundle HH4. HH11, HH12, HH14. These are all resolutions which are allowing us to amend budgets to accept funding.
Move them.
Second.
So if anybody like any further information about the various funding programs that have come through during this month, I can share that.
Nope, I just, I make mention this rental supplement. It will be it would be interesting to see if we can use these funds to get some people into housing
Correct.
that don't have the opportunity to have housing now. And I think they're estimating 20 families might benefit from this. So if they could report out on that, that would be great. Okay. All right. 4, 11, 12, and 14. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Take 2 as well.
2, we did separately.
We did separately?
Yep.
Okay.
Then, Madam Chair, I'd like to bundle HH5, HH6, HH7, HH10, and HH15, which has been added since the Health and Human Services Committee. These are all contracts from social services and mental health, typical contracts that we do on an annual basis, contracts that we are doing through the ability to work with opiate funds, et cetera.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Great.
I think that covers all of the resolutions. HH8 and HH9 were tabled.
13.
13.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have included 13. This is also a contract with the Office of Aging to work with Trio Community Meals for the provision of the meal services for seniors.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Moser?
Hello, I have 7 resolutions. GO1 is authorizing the chairman of the Legislative Commission of the Cayuga County Board of Elections to sign a contract with New York State Board of Elections to accept the New York State e-book grant.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
GO2 was amended at Government Ops authorizing the chair of the legislature and the commissioner of the county board of elections to sign a contract with the New York State Board of Elections to accept the general election grant and ballot mail-in grant. By ballot grant.
Yeah, move it. And I believe this was amended to get the updated grant amounts in that
Absolutely.
resolution.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. I move it in second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Authorize transfer of funds within the board elections for the 2024 budget was GO3.
I'll move it. Can we get a second?
Second.
Yep. I think this basically is authorizing finance department to move money as needed within that budget to make those lines whole. All in favor?
Aye.
GO4, authorize the Cayuga County Legislature to approve a contract to purchase a property at 231 Franklin Street Road, Auburn, New York, and hold in the same trust of the Cayuga County Community College. That was explained at length, and if anybody needs any more explanation, I can explain. Can I get a motion for that, GO4?
Nightingale, move it.
I'll second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right. GO5, authorizing the chair of the legislature to extend a contract auction international to September 31st, 2025 for the auction of services of surplus assets.
Move it.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
GO6, authorizing the transfer of funds within the Cayuga County Veteran Services Agency for the 2024 budget.
I'll move that.
Nightingale, second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
GO7, approving the collection bargaining agreement between the Cayuga County College Educational Support Professional Bargaining Unit and the Cayuga Community College for the period of September 1st to 2024 through August 31st, 2028.
Nightingale, move it.
I'll second. That was also explained.
Yeah, that was explained. Anybody needs any explanation, I'll explain. Best of my ability.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any in Public Works?
Chair, Planning Public Works has 9 resolutions. EPW 1 is to authorize Highway Superintendent to fill a vacant automotive mechanic position. I'll move it.
Nightingale, second for discussion.
Discussion or questions?
I guess I would feel more, I would like to hold these fills until January when we finish the 2025 budget. But that's just my opinion. And so I'll be a no on this.
I concur.
Motion to table.
I would like to put a motion up the table.
Till the January meeting or?
I'll make a motion to table actually, I'll make a motion to, can I do it for both 1 and 2?
More than welcome to if you want.
Is that allowed? We only have 1 on the table. I'll bundle, I'll make a motion to put 1 and 2 on to table 1 and 2.
That's neater, cleaner to bundle them and
Yeah,
then.
we'll bundle them and then table 1 and 2 till our January meeting.
Second it.
Or sitting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're opposed?
No.
Oh, okay. Yep.
1 and 2 are done then. So PPW 3, 4, and 5, I'd like to bundle. They're basic resolutions that are solid waste management plan, agreement with the environmental for the collection of household hazardous waste, and the supporting the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad, New York's scenic byway nomination, and so on. So motion for PPW 3, 4, and 5.
Move it 3, 4, and 5 as a bundle.
I'll second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Any opposed?
Okay. PPW 6 is authorized to purchase of that excavator for the Parks and Trails Department. This was made possible because they were going to buy a truck, but that got transferred from the Highway Department. So they have the money now to buy the excavator this year. And we don't have to have it in the budget for next year.
I'll move that.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. PPW 7A, I'd like to bundle. They're for the charge point for the vehicle charging station in Sterling Nature Center, and the other is for the contract for the water treatment service up in Sterling Nature Center.
I'll
I'll
move
move
it.
7 and 8.
I'll second it. I got a question for Doug. I think he's in the room. Or oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Is this like a credit card one that you stick then the company you contract with takes care of the billing and we never see a thing with it?
Correct.
Okay, that was like fun. Thank you.
You bundled 7 and 8. Do we have a motion in a second? All in favor?
Aye.
PPW 9 is for to allow the budget, to allow work to get done in the court. This is 100% reimbursed by New York State. So this is the work that's getting done in the historic post office.
Nightingale, move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Okay.
Okay, PPW 10 is what was added. We had the kind of like an update at the beginning of Planning and Public Works last week. Our contracts for gas and electric are running out, and Amanda brought the gentleman in from this company to answer any questions at the time. So I would accept a motion for PPW 10.
Langell, move it.
I'll second it.
And just so I'm clear, Amanda, this is the first time we've had this kind of consultant.
Yeah, I know Gary previously looked into Mega, which is, it's a municipal group that gets rates. It's almost similar. But this has been more cost effective with the other counties that I checked that had ran numbers off both.
And because we have to negotiate these rates, it gives us some ability to have some expertise in this area.
Yes, because we don't
Right.
have anybody working here that has that professional ability, and I'm not gonna pretend to.
Okay, thank you. All right. Did we get a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Judicial and Public Safety is 11 resolution, one was pulled. I'd like to start with 911 with JP1. JP1 authorizes the chairperson of the legislature to sign a 6-month contract with Eaton Corporation for maintenance of the UPS with a backup 911 center.
Move it.
Langell, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
JP2 is with the assigned council. It amends the 2024 assigned council budget to accept additional state aid that'll use to offset the legal defense expenditures.
Langell, move it.
I'll second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to bundle JP3 and JP4. JP3 authorize the create and fill for the Community Accountability Board from the District Attorney's Office. JP4 is authorizing the chair of the legislature to execute an approval of the 2024-25 GIVE grant, Gun Involved Violence Elimination Initiative for the Cayuga County District Attorney's Office in the amount of $107,155. The reason I bundled them is JP3 is a requirement of JP4 and is 100% fully reimbursed through the GIVE program.
I'll remove it.
I'll second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, I'd like to bundle JP 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. JP 9 will be requiring a 2/3 majority vote in the full legislature as that involves transferring funds from the general fund and amounts of $175,000 for the prescription budget in the jail. JP 5 is authorizing the chair of the legislature of Cayuga County and the county sheriff to accept grant for domestic terrorism prevention program. JP 6 is authorizing the chair of the legislature and the Cayuga County sheriffs to accept the grant from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. JP 7 is authorizing the chair of the legislature and sheriff to sign an agreement with qualified company to provide food service for incarcerated population of the county jail. And JP 8 is a resolution authorizing the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office and the Alpha Police Department to enter a memorandum of understanding for mutual aid pursuant to New York State general municipal law.
I'm confused.
I went through JP 5, 6, 7, and 8. I read JP 9 first.
Oh, 9 is the authorization to transfer the 175 for the full
Correct.
account?
And that required 2/3 at the full ledge.
Yep, okay. All in favor of the bundle?
Oh, yeah,
We need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Langell, move it.
Second.
Okay, any questions about the bundle? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, I'd like to finally bundle JP 11 and JP 12. JP 11 authorizes the chairperson of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County Emergency Services to accept New York State Division of Homeland Security emergency finances for fiscal year 23 for the EMPG grant, which is the Emergency Management Performance Grant to enhance all hazards, preparedness, migration response, and recovery. JP 12 is authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County Emergency Services Director to accept New York State Division of Homeland Security program law enforcement activities related to terrorism prevention, cybersecurity, citizen protection, information sharing, and community preparedness.
I'll move the bundle of 11 and 12.
Nightingale second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other business, I'm going to move to adjourn.
Do it. Second.
Next, we're going to have, okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. There's a Ways and Means for Lynn to talk about. All right. We can open the special Ways and Means meeting. Today, we're going to talk, Lynn, I think, or someone is going to present to us just some summary overviews of the report for health and human services and then through that report to judicial and public safety, and just give us a little additional detail on the big changes in those budgets, and we'll have an opportunity to ask any questions. Okay.
I've handed out a summary sheet to the legislators here, and then we're just gonna kind of walk through some of the bigger changes that are proposed in the budgets for these departments that report to the HHH and the Judicial Committee. We're gonna start in the front of the sheet. It's the Health and Human Services Committee. We'll start with Public Health. Some of the bigger changes here, they do have some increase in their state aid revenue. They do have open-ended 36% state aid after the base grant of $750. So just kind of, goes up a little bit as the salary fringes goes up. It would generally kind of trend up. There's proposed in here to eliminate the funding for one full-time public health assistant. There is some increases in the program expenditures related to the preschool education program. We have some increased tuition and some increased transportation costs. Pretty much, it's due to, increased rates, and also there is a larger number of children participating in the full programs. We budgeted about a local share increase of about 130,000 for the operation of that program.
That's tuition and transportation?
Oh, yeah, that's just kind of the overall expenses together.
And I could ask a question.
Sure.
So it says our share of the program is $131,000 increase.
Increase.
Right.
Okay. And does the state reimburse that increase?
This includes any state aid that we already get for the program. We get 59.5% state aid. We also get some Medicaid revenue. So if you look, in the book, the local share is quite large for this program. That's just the change in the local share. So look in here and see where it is. This program has a $2.4 million local share. So last year it was 2.2.
Okay, so I assume that since our costs are gonna go up, we're gonna get a little bit more state aid, correct? That's my simple question.
Yep, that's how that works. Yep.
Just to be sure.
It used to be that the overall cost of the health department, over half of the cost came from this mandated program. Is that still the case?
I'm not sure. I haven't run those numbers, so it probably is.
Yes.
Do you have any other questions about the health department? I'll move on.
I'll ask one that you'll hate me for. Maybe Kathleen knows, the base $750 state aid grant lasts half of the year, part of the year, it depends.
It depends, typically about 5-6 months into the year and then 36 years.
Everything's 100% then, or in public health, and then you'll go into the 36%.
And, right, yes.
Okay, the next department on the sheet here is the mental health department. There's an increase in the mental health fees. And it's a larger increase than normal because actually they have some 100% funded grant positions now that are in their salary accounts. So this has been increased to offset those 100% funded positions. So that's just so we don't end up overtaxing when we know that they're going to be covered by the grant. There has been eliminated funding for one full-time senior clerk. And we have eliminated the funding for one full-time billing clerk for the second half of 2025. We have included funding for the new electronic medical record that was discussed at the previous meeting. There will be continued costs for that. And I just wanted to point out that we did only budget $100,000 for the psychiatric costs for individuals placed the criminal charges pending. It's very hard to predict this, but you know, this is the account that was over $1 million this year. So we did not increase the budget to anywhere near that level since we don't know if there will be any placement next year.
But if there are, we'll be in the same position we were this year. We'll have to take money from the fund balance to cover the mandated costs.
Yeah.
But
Are those people still in that?
Or
Is that,
Lauren is here if you want to ask her to.
Lauren, are they still two?
There were two, but, one just came back to the jail, and we actually just got an email today that another one is coming out, even though his time was ending in December.
So we haven't rated nobody in the program right now? Are they gonna be coming home too?
Yeah, we just don't know when. They just went, so.
full disclosure, 100,000 isn't gonna cover much of anything if you have people in that
If you
program.
had one person in there, probably, we would need to probably increase it.
net, if we have to go into extra money, we have to take that right directly out of the fund balance, correct?
Or somewhere else.
Yeah, or budget for it, yeah. Yep. And I guess it's probably not an easy answer, but there's a lot of questions about the clinic and the clinic operation and running a mental health clinic. I guess I'm asking, it seems that the revenue that you get for the clinic billing is covering the clinic operation. Is that true? Okay, and you have other costs in there. Even if we didn't have a clinic, we would have a mental health budget, a DCS, all these mandated costs, the state aid, all the planning, all of that. But currently, the revenue that you're getting in that clinic does cover your operating costs of running the clinic
Yes.
and offset some of the mandated costs you would have if you didn't have a clinic.
100%, yes. And obviously we have, we provide other services elsewhere, right? Like we have people in the jail and all that. We're doing our best to cover all of those expenses as well with the revenue that comes into it. But yes, there would be mandated costs regardless if we had a clinic or not, and we would have no revenue coming in to offset that.
And you have made that opioid money available to the sheriff's department to offset some of your mandated work?
Right.
As well as like community-based organizations. Some is going to the sheriff's department to
Correct.
defray his costs.
And some has gone to agencies which collaborate with the sheriff,
Mhm.
Nick's Ride, that are inside the jail working with incarcerated persons. So it's very collaborative use of the money.
The next department is the Office for the Aging. The increase in local share here is mainly just due to some salary and fringe benefit increases for the staff. I wanted to point out, there was a decrease in the senior meals in this budget due to the recent usage has been down. So that was cut from previous budgets.
We have number on that number.
Yeah. The budget is for $520,000 and the 2024 budget was set at $585,000. But last year we spent 457, so we didn't end up, even coming close to what we had put for 2024.
So it's about a 11% reduction.
And all the various funding streams that come into the Office for the Aging all have some kind of county match. Is that how it works?
I mean, I think, yes, Brenda.
Some do, some have a small amount, some have more, and some have none. Depends on the funding stream.
Okay, some of your funding streams don't require a match for the county. And you get millions of,
1.6.
$1 million in funding. And the local share increase has to do with just the overall increase in staff costs? Or most of them? Okay.
The next department would be social services. There is a large increase in the revenue in this budget, but that is mainly due to increased expenditures that we have included in this 2025 budget that are related to the reapplication to 63 Genesee Street. There's quite a bit budgeted for rent, cleaning, additional purchases of maybe furniture and some services to set the building up. We're estimating that we'll get 50% overall reimbursement, federal and state aid, some combination, but there's an increase in the local share, about $450,000 in this budget related to that.
Because if you didn't put these associated costs into this budget, they wouldn't be eligible for reimbursement, right? I mean, when you go to claim all these increased expenses, because it's the Department of Social Services, has to be embedded into their budget.
I don't know if there's a law that says that, but yes, we would like to be in there because there'd be a huge chance that they would not be claimed. If we put expenditures other places in the budget, it's very difficult for them to identify them and claim them appropriately. So they are, the ones moving into that building and they're eligible to be claimed for reimbursement. They're the cost of them doing business. So that is a big increase in their budget, about almost $500,000 related to that. We also have some increases in some of the foster care costs and OCFS placements. We've upped the budget about $300,000. The rates have definitely gone up for foster care, that we had to become compliant with the maximum state aid rates. So that has happened over the last year and a half, 2 years. So we're up to that maximum now. We still have some increase in our expenditures budget for the homelessness, the safety net spending. This also includes what we call emergency assistance for adults. We have increased about $255,000 overall. That's with revenue. That also is a lot of homeless placements. Just I have a different account. That's what it's related to. We have quite a few changes in personnel in this department. We eliminated funding for 2 part-time caseworkers, 1 full-time senior caseworker, 1 full-time paralegal, 1 full-time resource consultant. Did add the funding for 1 part-time paralegal to offset the decrease in the full-time person. We did also move the funds for 1 social services attorney. They were moved out of the salary account and added to the contractual services line. If they get lucky enough to find 2 people who will take jobs there, I'm sure they'll bring a resolution to move the money back, but that's where we're spending the money from. So we moved it over there for right now.
Sure.
In relation to 63 Genesee Street, we got, the way I understand this, $450,000 set aside in the 2025 budget to pay for furniture, moving expenses and all of that, correct? Is that the way I understand it? No. Explain.
We have twice as much. That's the net local share.
But I understand we're gonna get a 50% rebate, correct?
Didn't you
Of what we
include
spend?
700 and some odd $1,000 into the 25 budget for expenses of moving?
I went through just this budget. I'm not sure where I got that number from. I mean, I'm just thinking social services only.
Right, but I think you're right, Mark. There is money in the 25 budget to accommodate for some moving, but it's not in this account.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what your question is that you're getting at.
Well, I guess what I'm getting to is that we still haven't signed the contract, or I know, correct? So are we just saying, well, we're gonna spend X amount of dollars for something that we think is gonna happen, because it hasn't happened yet? Are we moving stuff into that building currently? I don't know how we can be if we don't have a contract.
No, this is just budgeting for the fact that, we're supposed to move in there. So I have to budget for rent, have to budget for cleaning. It won't get spent if they're not there, clearly. And it would be unspent money in the budget. So we're budgeting it to have it in there. And the last department that's covered here would be the Youth Bureau Department, and there's no significant changes there, so. Really not anything else.
Thank you, Landis. This doesn't seem like fun to me, okay, but it's well done and thank you.
you know, I spoke with Lynn today and that's
Want to
why,
do the other committee?
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yes, I'm sorry. Jesus. Yeah. Uh-oh. Is it on?
It's on the next page.
Okay. Sorry.
You learn that in kindergarten.
Is the paper in front of your face? Oh, yeah.
Turn the page.
Oh,
So this would be the Public Safety Committee. The first department on here is the Assigned Council Department. There's actually a decrease in local share for this department. The state aid is actually up, compared, once we were able to see the bills and was able to see how the claiming was gonna work, because they are offering some state aid to offset the increase in that enhanced rate to the attorneys. So overall, we have budgeted a decreased local share of $243,000. So that's a helpful thing in the budget. For 911, no significant changes, except we did have a decrease in this contractual expenditures related to the radio tower. A decrease of about $131,000 there for that one. The coroner has no significant changes at all.
Back to the training.
Yep,
If I can. Training in the 911 center. That was decreased.
yep.
They currently have 22 people there, $5,000 isn't a lot to train. And that was a decrease of what? 5,000?
Yes.
It was a decrease of 10,000, wasn't it?
Out here,
It was cut in half, it was decreased to 5.
so it was 10, now 5. We train 20, we have to keep 22 people there trained. I can't say if I'd be for, decreasing their training budget, because there isn't anything that's decreasing, everything's going up. Travel, time there, expense to get there, meals, the whole 9 yards. I don't understand why we're decreasing something as vital as, the 911 dispatchers at the training center to be decreased in their budget.
was there, I mean, generally, when you look at the past use,
I would say, look at the actual.
yeah, that's
the
you.
actual last year.
Yeah, what is the use? Whatever. Time on one.
Huh?
Cost something.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Department.
3020.
Seminars and conferences on?
No, it's training.
Separate training.
I mean, last year we spent $12,000. I mean, I think, there's been thoughts about doing training in a different way than it's been done in the past. So I don't know that how much people spent in the prior year is necessarily the determinant. But I mean, I think the Ways and Means has the budget right now. So unless they're entertaining a change, I mean, this is just a discussion.
No, that's fine, it's just a discussion, but.
But I think that's what we're saying is that we're not just looking at how things were done in the past. We're trying to look at doing things differently going forward with some of these changes that have been proposed in this budget.
I guess, yeah. So there's the training line and then there's the cottage one.
Yes, and they're different. I mean, some people do not charge things consistently between departments. So
So what is the training line that's in the tentative budget for 911 right now?
$5,000.
And it's 12,000 was spent the year before. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying? Okay. And 5 is in the budget, the training now. And I looked at your budget pressure sheet, and that's where I came up with 770. That was in one of the budget,
Right, there's probably in some
Yes.
other accounts, right? I was
Yes.
just only looking at social
new costs
services.
related to the closure of the buildings. Okay.
The next department is the district attorney. There is increase in expenditures throughout this budget, for the district attorney, and it's due to the give grant and the discovery grant. How we have budgeted them in the past was we kind of just had the revenues coming in because they were just coming in and we kind of had our normal expenditures and they've kind of changed the rules on us on both of those grants. The give grant, you have to have specific spending to voucher it. And with the discovery grant, they're really requiring us to budget it in different areas, training, extradition, some other areas. And we're hopeful not to spend it and then we'll still get the total revenue in. But the district attorney really felt that they needed to be budgeted so we could show to the state that we're, going to expend it if needed to offset those grant revenues. So that is kind of a big change. That we have to budget it differently. Hopefully it will still turn out better than their budget every year would be the hope that what they're able to return balance will be better than what's budgeted.
But if the increase in local share is 183 and there's salary changes and stuff, that's not, there must be revenue somewhere else, right? Coming in?
No, well, that's all. I mean, most of their people are non-bargaining, so they don't have salary changes.
Oh, because that's still to be determined.
Yes, their whole
Yes,
department
gotcha.
is non-bargaining, so they don't have as big of changes as the departments that have unions in them.
Gotcha. Okay. When we were looking at the conference lines of the various departments, that's why the DAs grew so much
Right,
because.
Yes, but she really is not planning on probably spending it.
Right.
Yeah, my intent is to stay within the same budget as last year. I have no intent in spending it, but we do have to properly allocate the grant funding to.
It has to be in your budget even to be reimbursed for it.
Correct. It has to be made available to the office.
Yep.
And again, like I said during our initial budget meeting, that I don't have any intent to spend any extra money.
Okay.
The next is the emergency management office. There was a change here that we eliminated the funding for the one full-time administrative officer and added funding for one part-time administrative officer. So basically going full-time to part-time. We also added funding for one deputy coordinator or fire investigator, whichever the department head feels is more important to be adding there. And we also included $5,000, some upgrades for the fire training tower where we hadn't had anything budgeted there in the past. The probation department, we've eliminated funding for one full-time account clerk typist that will happen after somebody retires. And we have had some increased revenues in that department due to the state aid that we now are getting for the pretrial services. Stop DWI had no significant changes there. That department has no local share in the operating budget. Back of the page, we have the sheriff's department to start with. Their funding was eliminated for one full-time detective position that was in the 24 budget. We have budgeted to purchase 3 marked patrol cars and 1 unmarked car. We have included funding for 2 new engines in the navigation unit to go with the boats they have. The county office building security, if you look in the budget, you may have noticed that it is unfunded because it's not planned that they would be providing the security for the social services department. DSS
It will be, but not new place.
It will not.
It will not.
No.
You said will be, right? Oh, not, okay.
They're unfunded.
Unfunded, okay, sorry.
Right. So that obviously is still kind of something up in the air to get determined. Again, a lot of things we've had to just estimate, for next year without any real decisions being made yet. At the jail, we did eliminate the funding for one full-time corporal position. There was a slight decrease in the jail revenue of $100,000. That's based on the lower level of boarding inmates. We included some funding to purchase 2 Tahoes for jail transportation. Their contractual expenditures are pretty constant. We did remove a request for $1 million for a new chiller at the jail. That is something that's going to have to get done. We're proposing that we're going to use the capital reserve for that, which we had kind of done the same thing for the roof in the 24 budget. Neither of the projects have been done, so we still need to do the roof. We still need to do the chiller after that, and that's going to be at least a cost of about $2 million. They still haven't gotten, engineering. I think we're close to getting it for the roof. I think we're close to going out to bid on that to get the actual prices for that. And then obviously the chiller would follow it sometime after that.
And the building reserve has $5 million.
Yes.
I have a question, and I think Brian can answer this question more than you, Lynn, but so I understand why we can't have, unless we own the building, we can't have the under deputies there. But can you have, is it because those guys are part-time, they're not actually sheriffs, but could you have your actually sheriffs there, your under sheriffs there?
Patrol deputies could provide the security because they're police officers, so they would have jurisdiction anywhere, but the special patrol officers are peace officers under general municipal law. They wouldn't have their authority in property that's not owned by a municipality. So being it's going to be rented and not owned, they wouldn't have the peace officer status in that environment.
But you feel as if your payroll deputies couldn't do it because you just don't have enough staff, right? Is that what because that never was brought up that we can actually.
If we had patrol deputies, we could utilize them, but we don't.
You don't. Okay.
We make more security.
All right. Just wonder.
Okay, that's all I have to review.
Okay, now I can turn the page. I did have a conversation with Lynn and with Amanda, and, she says, well, any changes you want to make in these departments, you have to do this night. And I'm like, well, the plan right now is there will be, from Ways and Means, offering up some amendments to the 2025 tentative budget. We are looking at some things, and I think the goal in mind is really to try to decrease the fund balance draw from the $6.6 million that it is now and get that down. We're not looking at this point to increase the tax levy to even keep it. We might even under the tax cap, which I think we have room to go to 4.2 and still stay below the tax cap. But, I think reducing the tax levy when we have these costs and stressors it's not a smart idea, but we are going to be coming up with some recommendations. And as our Ways and Means recommendations to give to the full ledge, and the plan is to review them on Thursday when we have the special Ways and Means meeting. And, my understanding at that point is they become recommendations to the full legislature that can then be supported or not supported. And we're planning on having those recommendations ready for Thursday.
So I wanted to change one of the things here. I can still bring it up on Thursday.
I'm not sure you can bring it up on Thursday. This is the Ways and Means meeting to make recommendations to the full legislature. You could make changes.
Can I bring it up? Make a change tonight?
You can, no. Yeah, you can say what you're thinking, but you have,
I'm gonna
the
vote on it
opportunity would be at the
Tuesday.
ledge meeting and then the special meetings in December.
Well, this is the Ways and Means Committee. Mr. Strong, if you could convince a Ways and Means member to make that change on your behalf, you can do that. Again, this is just the Ways and Means Committee that makes the recommendations. Or you can make the recommendation on Wednesday of next week at the full ledge meeting?
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yes.
Tuesday. You dwell in small detail on that.
Yeah, I mean, we had discussed this. The Ways and Means Committee doesn't have any independent authority to change the tentative budget. Our role is to recommend to the legislature what we think would make sense in terms of changes to the tentative budget. They all have to be voted on, and then non-members of the Ways and Means Committee can then offer up recommendations as well for the legislature to vote on.
Next to full,
Yep.
Makes the list.
specific point in the revenue that has to be done.
There was a resolution on the Ways meeting, WM1 was.
That will have like the changes that get made on Thursday.
Yep.
That'll be on the Excel sheet, but if you have a motion to amend that, that would be when you would bring that up. So WM1, it's the Ways and Means recommendations.
And at that, after that is voted on, we can make any changes. Right?
Right. Yeah, no, you'd have to identify if you want to remove something, add something, and where the
Fine,
money.
and number and all the,
Yep,
like we've done it before.
Yeah.
yep,
No problem.
right. And the goal is not to keep everyone in suspense, but there's a lot of information to go through here. And we're trying to make reasonable recommendations that don't hurt the operations. Yep. Do you have something?
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, if there are amendments made to the budgets that we discussed tonight, when will the department heads be made aware of those amendments? And when should we be here Thursday as well?
Thursday or else
Yeah.
see him on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, he said he could be here Thursday. You'll see him on the agenda, right? For Tuesday?
Thursday.
I mean, they're not, I would say, made until the legislature passes them on Tuesday. Because the Ways and Means might pass it, but then the full ledge has to pass it also.
Right.
So that's when it would really be changed.
Ways and Means is making recommendations to the legislature. Then those go up or down, and then any legislator at the legislative meeting can make additional changes, propose additional changes.
And they go either up or down based on the vote. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I see you right here. Yes.
Yes, you are.
Thursday. Thursday.
It's the same thing.